she further recognized teachers and pupils from St. Ignatius School in Lusaka District on behalf of the National Assembly of Zambia. Madam First Deputy Speaker did warmly welcome the visitors to the National Assembly. The last announcement that was made yesterday, Madam First Deputy Speaker informed the House that of the creche and the laying of the foundation stone by the Honorable Madam Speaker took place on Thursday, 27th March 2025 at Parliament buildings, and the First Deputy Speaker further informed the House during the ceremony Mr. Mototo Kafoya, Member of Parliament for Lunte, to pledge 20,000 kwacha worth towards the construction of the creche as a token of appreciation for the commendable initiative.
Yes, indeed, after those announcements, the acting leader of government and business did move a motion that standing orders 27 and 123 be suspended to enable the House to complete all business on the order paper and all matters arising therefrom, and also to consider more than one stage of a bill on Friday, 28th March 2025, and on such completion, the House adjourns the Senate, and this motion was resolved.
So, standing order 27 and 123 were suspended. So today, the House will is concluded, and thereafter we expect the House to adjourn Senate. There were two ministerial statements that were considered on the floor of the House. The first one from the Minister of Mines and Minerals, and this is Honorable, who is also Chilabombe, Member of Parliament, and this ministerial statement was on the financial viability of Concola Copper Mines, KCM, Mopani Copper Mines PLC, and the Minister to brief the House on the successes and operation challenges the mines were encountering and reaffirmed their financial viability. We did see quite a number of members of Parliament with vested interest by following up a question seeking clarity from the Minister of Mines and Minerals Development.
The Minister of Lands and Natural Resources also made a statement on the system disruption till 16th February 2025. The Minister did brief the House on the effects of the disruptions and assured that the House of measures being taken to avoid the system disruption in the future.
The House thereafter proceeded to conduct two questions for oral answer, understanding Order 82, and after the consideration of those two questions, the House did consider reports which was presented by Mwandi, Member of Parliament, Ms. Vesos Sefulo MP, and this was the report of the Committee on National Economy, Trade and Labour Matters. She is the chairperson of that committee that adopts the report of the Committee on National Economy, Trade and Labour Matters on the ratification of the membership to the Africa 50 Funds, Articles of Association for Project Development and Finance for the fourth session of the 13th National Assembly. The document was laid on the table of the House on Friday, 21st March 2025. And this motion was seconded by Ron, Member of Parliament, Mr. George Wee, and he is the Deputy Chairperson of that committee, and the report was adopted.
Of course, after consideration of that motion, Mr. Christopher Kangombe, Kasisa constituency Member of Parliament, did move a motion that in order to facilitate the payment of allowances to members of the World Development Committees, this House urges the government to facilitate the amendments of the Local Government Act number 2 of 2019, and this motion was seconded by two Members of Parliament, Mr. Morenga Fove.
There were two bills that were considered yesterday. The first one is the Geological and Mineral Development Bill, National Assembly Bill number 33 of 2024, and amendment were considered and read the third time. I expected to read the third time today, which is Friday, 28th March 2025.
And of course, the planned health and National Assembly Bill number 20 of 2024 read the time and passed.
The House did adjourn at 18:35 hours, and today we expect business to resume at 09 hours. So So basically, that's the business that was considered on the floor of the House. So I'd like to say thank you so much for being with us. And for now, we shift our attention and look at what is expected to be considered on the floor of the House. Remember what we mentioned earlier on about standing orders 27 and 23 were suspended. We expect 3 ministerial statements to be considered, and we have 3 bills coming at different stages and 2 questions for our answer. Cross over to the floor of the House.
Honorable members of Parliament, Madam Speaker.
Yeah.
Prayer. Almighty God, who in your infinite wisdom and providential goodness has appointed the offices of leaders and parliaments for the welfare of society and the just government of the people, we beseech you to consider with your abundant favor us, your servants, whom you have been pleased to call to the performance of such important responsibilities in this land. Let your blessing descend upon us here in Parliament assembled, and grant that we may, as in your presence, treat and consider all matters that operation in so just and a manner as to promote your honor and glory, and to advance the peace, prosperity, and welfare of our country, and of those whose interests you have committed to our church. Amen.
Good morning, you're watching Parliamentary television. The quorum has been constituted, and as soon as the quorum is constituted, we can start sharing comments. There must be 130 members of Parliament in the House in order for business to transact.
All right, thank you so much for still being with us. Like we mentioned earlier on, standing orders 27 and 123 were suspended yesterday to enable the House to complete all business on the order paper and all matters arising therefrom, and also to consider more than one stage of bill on Friday today, 28th March 2020. 2025. And let's quickly look at the bills that are expected to be considered on the floor of the House. We do have the Cybersecurity Bill, National Assembly Bill number 29 of 2024, coming up at the committee stage.
And also the Cybercrime Bill, National Assembly Bill number 30 of 2024, to be considered at the committee stage.
We do have the Geological and Minerals Development Bill, National Assembly Bill number 33 and of 2024, coming up at the third reading stage, which means that these bills today will pass all the stages because of the suspending of Standing Order 27 and 123. Let's also look at the three ministerial statements that are expected to be considered today, Joe.
Yes, indeed, and so the ministerial statement is expected to be rendered by the Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation on the President's official weekend visit to Japan from 3rd to 7th February 2025.
The other ministerial statement will come from the Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, and this one is on the 38th Ordinary Session of the Assembly of Heads of State and Government at the African Union held in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia from 15th to 16th February 2025.
And the other one is coming with the of Home Affairs and Internal Security on the issuance of national registration cards through mobile registration.
Two questions for oral answer. Understanding Order 82. The first one will come from Mr. Sim Kundu, Chamber Member of Parliament, directing his question to the Minister of Energy. The member wants to find out why health constituency are subject to Tesco Limited, despite the presidential directive not to load shed health facilities, and what urgent measures are being taken to ensure that the health facilities are not load shedded in order to prevent loss of life.
So Mr. Jotam Chalo is the chairman of the Member of Parliament. He has a question to the Minister of Education. He wants to find out why local applicants in each district were not prioritized during the 2025 teacher recruitment exercise, and why the exercise was not decentralized to each district, and see whether local applicants in each district were left out.
Sounds like we do have a quorum, which is 1/3 of the total number of members of Parliament, requirement for business to be considered on the floor of the House. Now, cross over to the floor.
Order, honorable members, we now have a quorum. Honorable members, I have two announcements and one ruling. The first announcement, honorable members, wish to recognize the presence in the public gallery of pupils and teachers from Thornhill Boarding School in Lusaka District. On behalf of the National Assembly of Zambia, I warmly welcome our visitors in our midst. I thank you. You may take your seats. I think the other ruling, the announcement. Send me. So for this, I see the other children. The other announcement, honorable members, I wish to recognize the presence in the public gallery of pupils and teachers from Triple Alliance Digital Academy Pre- and Primary School in Lusaka District. On behalf of the National Assembly of Zambia, our visitors in our meeting. So that means now to the third announcement, honorable members, I wish to inform the House that Parliament Radio will be migrating from the Astra 4A satellite under Vision Consult GmbH to the as a Cosmos satellite. The migration process will begin on Tuesday, 1st April 2025. During the migration process, the Parliament Radio remote sites across the country will be off air. However, the Lusaka frequency 92.5 FM will still be on air. In addition, Chirundu, Mazabuka, Monze, parts of Choma and Kabwe will also be able to access Parliament radio on 92.5 FM. Transmission at the Parliament radio remote site across the country is expected to be restored by Friday, 30th May. The inconvenience the process will cause to the Parliament radio listeners, especially in our remote site, is deeply regretted. I thank you. Now, honorable members, I have a ruling to make on a point of order raised on Tuesday, 18th March 2025 by Honorable G. Kombo, MP, Minister of Local Government and Rural Development, against Mr. F.R. Kapianga, Member of Parliament for Mpika Constituency, and Mr. L. Simumba, Member of Parliament for the Constituency, for voting in a matter that the House will record Tuesday 8th, when the House was considered of thanks to the President made in the application of national values and principles. Mr. Chalo, Member of Parliament Constituency, was debating. Honorable G. Kombo, MP, Minister of Local Government and Rural Development, raised the point of order, which was premised on Standing Order 221, which provides for naming of a member. Honorable members, in raised point of order, Honorable Kombo, MP, stated that the rules of natural justice dictate that one cannot be judged in his own case. Further, he stated that as the House was voting on a question to suspend or not to suspend Mr. F. Kapianga, Member of Parliament for Mpika Constituency, and Mr. L. Simumba, Member of Parliament for Nankonde Constituency, both voted despite being on the floor of the House. He reiterated that when one was being judged, one cannot take part in the process. On that premise, Honorable G. Kombo, MP, inquired whether that was procedural correct. He, in that regard, requested that the two votes from the members in question be expunged from the record. Honorable members, in his immediate response, the Honorable Mr. Second Deputy Speaker, I have since studied the matter and will now render my ruling. Honorable members, the point of order by Honorable G. Kombo, MP, raises a question of eligibility of a member on a question his or her fate. Honorable members, the Standing Orders 2024 instructive on the procedure to be followed when a member has been named. In naming the member, the presiding officer at the end puts a question that the named member is from the same. In ascertaining the result of the speaker in the votes collects the ayes and noes and declares the result accordingly. Consequently, if any member disagrees with the decision of the House on a question put, such a member may call for a division. Members in support of a call for a division shall stand in their places or indicate electronically. Call for division is sent a question for casting a vote. For members, the relevant governs the voting is Standing Order 157 of the National Assembly of 2024, and I quote, unless under the Constitution, a question arising in the House shall be decided by a majority of members in the House present and voting. The emphasis on present and voting is mine. 2. In ascertaining the result on a question under paragraph 1, the Speaker shall, in the first instance, collect the votes and the noes shall declare. End of quote. A division has been called. The presiding officer then resorts to electronic voting as the case may be. Of order, Honorable who were subject to be resolved should not have participated in voting for their own fate, as this was contrary to the principles of natural justice, which dictate that a person shall not be a judge and jury in his own cause. Honorable members, Standing Order 161 to 5 of the National Assembly of Zambia Orders 2024 on electronic voting provides as follows. 1. Unless the speaker or chairperson of the committee otherwise directs, voting on a division in the House shall be conducted electronically. 2. Where the speaker or the chairperson of the committee, as the case may be taken, the division bell shall be rung for 5 minutes. 3. At the end of the 5 minutes, the speaker or chairperson of the committee shall direct that doors be locked and the bar closed, and no member shall therefore enter or leave the chamber until after the voting. 4. When the bar is closed, the speaker or the chairperson of the committee shall ask the question and thereafter give instructions on electronic voting. 5. The speaker or the chairperson of the committee, as the case may be, shall, as soon as the result of the voting appears on the indicator board or the voting is complete, announce the results of the division of the House. On orders above do not preclude any member who is duly present in the House at the time of voting from participating in voting. Honorable members, it therefore follows MP and Mr. Elsie Mumba MP to vote and did not on the aspect of natural justice that a person shall not be a judge or jury in his own cause. I am of the considered view that this does not arise. I therefore hold that Mr. F. Kampianga MP and Mr. Elsie Mumba MP were present and eligible to vote, and were therefore not out of order. I thank you. Move to the next item on the order paper. I don't know why honorable members are always of the honorable member. It's the last day, so you have to shine. I have permitted the honorable Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation to present a serious statement. Honorable Minister of Foreign Affairs.
Madam Speaker, I wish to report to this August House that Daniel Hichilema, President of Zambia, working visit from 5. The President was accompanied by myself in view of my portfolio as Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, Honorable Chipoka Mlenga, MP, Minister of Commerce, Trade and Industry, and Honorable Charles Mui, MP, Minister of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development, and other senior government officials. The official visit of the President held several fruitful engagements, including a bilateral meeting with His Excellency Mr. Ishiba Geru of Japan, the Chief Executive in charge of Africa at Toyota Chusho Company, Corporation, beg pardon, Madam Speaker, including a tour of Toyota Motomachi Factory, for River Limited, a tour of Sustainer Kyoto Waste Management Plant, as well as audience with His Majesty, the Emperor of Japan, amongst other engagements. The program reflects the new Dawn government's commitment to continuously engage the international community at the highest level in line with Zambia's foreign policy and the economic transformation agenda. The President will continue to undertake state visits at two different countries to explore trade and investment opportunities. Under the able leadership of has taken steps and the partner to held fruitful discussions with his counterpart, as aforementioned, during which the two countries acknowledged the long-standing bilateral relations and reaffirmed the need for continued cooperation, deepen, including the bilateral of stands to give impetus to Japanese investment into Zambia and vice versa. Let me emphasize that the bilateral investment treaty, a landmark agreement between Zambia and Japan, will undoubtedly promote and protect investment between the two nations, thereby providing a framework for cooperation and growth. Zambia and Japan are therefore expected to increase economic cooperation, job creation, and improve economic growth. During the bilateral summit, Prime Minister Ishiba also announced that the Japanese government will contribute towards the development of infrastructure of regional connectivity. In the mining sector, Madam Speaker, Japan expressed interest to promote cooperation in the field of mineral exploration with the Zambian government through the Japan Organization for Metal and Energy Security, also referred to as JOGMEC. Mineralization and the assistance being provided by the World Bank, including support in governance around critical minerals, were a key feature of the conversation. In addition, the Japanese government announced the decision towards enhancing of irrigation systems for small-scale farmers to mitigate the effects of climate change. Madam Speaker, I also wish to report that the President confirmed Zambia's participation at the Osaka Kansai Expo 2025, scheduled to take place from April to October 2025. The Expo will present an opportunity to showcase Zambia's potential and will also contribute to Zambia's efforts aimed at strengthening business ties with Japanese companies. In addition, as though that we're not, Japan will this year host the 9th Tokyo International Conference on African Development, TICAD 9, from 20th to 22nd August 2025, and
The President has confirmed Zambia's participation. The two countries will work on innovative solutions for Africa towards the job by the continent under Ticket 9. Madam Speaker, during the visit to Nagoya, President Hichilema held bilateral meetings with Mr. Ichiro Kashatani, the Chief Executive in charge of Toyota Africa at Toyota Chusho Company, including a tour of Toyota Matomachi factory, as I mentioned earlier. During the meeting, Toyota Chusho Company expressed interest to expand its investment portfolio in Zambia, including diversifying its investment to areas such as energy and pharmaceuticals. President Hichilema and the Zambian delegation also undertook a visit to Horiba Limited, a company that manufactures and supplies a wide range of precision equipment and systems for application in different sectors such as health and automotive research development. To this effect, the President extended an invitation to Horiba to set up a regional hub in Zambia and supply equipment applications. Of Sustainable Kyoto Waste Management Plant was also undertaken in Kyoto to observe generator biogasification facility and other powerful large-scale facilities, which will no doubt have significant impact on Zambia with regard to solid waste management. President Hichilema took the opportunity to again invite this potential investor to set up similar facilities. Madam Speaker, as I conclude, I wish to inform this August House that the official working visit to Japan provided a platform for bilateral discussions on a variety of issues of interest to the country, with the visit significantly and strategically planned to include meetings with top leadership, local authorities, and potential investors, as highlighted above. The President successfully managed to reset Zambia's long-standing historical relations with Japan and reaffirm the political commitment required to enhance bilateral cooperation between the two sides for the mutual benefit of the two countries and peoples. The implementation of the signed bilateral investment treaty for the promotion and policy dialogue and other outcomes of the visit must be expedited for the momentum gathered to continue and for the intended benefit to the peoples of the two countries. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you very much. Honorable members are now free to ask questions on points of clarification on the ministerial statement presented by the Honorable Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, the Honorable Member for Chitambo.
Madam Speaker, I'm so grateful, and Honorable Minister, thank you for that statement. I think that's how it must be. Whenever a trip is made, you must come and inform the people of Zambia what we are achieving from these trips. Madam Speaker, Japan is one of some kind of a great nation, and there is a lot that we can get from Japan. Honorable Minister, you've articulated very well about the bilateral talks that were held and the developments that we shall await to see. My question is, when do Zambia see these developments come to happen? I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much. The Honorable Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, and I thank the Honorable Member for Chitambo for that question. Madam Speaker, indeed, as the Honorable Member for Chitambo has alluded to, Japan is amongst the significant world leaders, and as he said, is a great nation indeed. So the collaboration between our two countries can only stand to benefit, especially the peoples of the two countries. And in terms of the second question, I believe, or that was a comment which I agree with. In terms of the question asked, when does Zambia see the benefits? This has begun immediately. Madam Speaker, for instance, there was a significant representation of Zambian business at the business forum that I referred to. I think in excess of 43 Zambian companies went to showcase what they can offer in Japan. And similarly, we had over 100 Japanese companies that were present at the business forum. That tells you that on the private sector perspective, already the symbiosis has begun. Those are immediate benefits. With regard to government-to-government benefits, as I mentioned in the statement, we have seen a rekindling of the relationship between the two countries, and already there are benefits that are flowing for that. I mentioned as well the interest of Toyota Tusho to in the energy sector. We all know that we have energy sector. They're looking at bringing 100 megawatt plants to start with, and already they are looking at sending a team, if it hasn't already arrived in Zambia, to undertake the feasibilities. So the benefits are immediate, and will keep on updating the nation accordingly. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Member from Ghana.
Madam Speaker, out of the trip taken by the President to Japan, I may wish to inform you, Madam Speaker, that I have since made a request to your office to allow me to move a motion to discuss one of the agreements that was signed in Japan, which is the Zambia-Japan Investment Promotion and Protection Agreement. Because, Madam Speaker, and this leads to my question, Honorable Minister, I just want to find out, when these agreements are being crafted, whenever you make such undertakings, who is responsible for crafting these agreements? Because, Madam Speaker, if you peruse through this agreement, it actually disadvantages the local businesses as well as the economy. I would have alluded to a number of articles, but I've made a request. For example, 15, it doesn't even give restriction to capital transfers. And that has been the biggest problem for Zambia in regards to transfer of capital. Minister, who crafts these clauses in these investment agreements? Madam Speaker, thank you.
Thank you very much. Just for guidance, honorable members, if you have written a letter and you have made a request, please don't bring it on the floor of the House, because that is an administrative matter still being attended to. Once approved, the honorable member will be duly informed. The Honorable Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, and I thank the Honorable Member from Ghana for the question, which was specifically as to who negotiates or prepares this documentation. In respect to the bilateral investment treaty in particular, there would be a good number of stakeholders involved in the process of drafting, led by the Ministry of Commerce, Trade and Industry, and of course with the support of the Attorney General for Zambia. But Madam Speaker, let me also take the opportunity to just address one of the concerns, perhaps I could call it that, raised by the Honorable Member from Ghana, which suggested that there is some sort of iniquity in the manner in which these documents are prepared. That could be further from the truth, Madam Speaker. The interests of Zambia and Zambians are always considered first and foremost, of course, keeping in mind also the interests of our partners, so that we prepare documentation that is fair to allow a proper, in this instance, trade balance. So perhaps there would be specific areas, technical areas, that the Honourable Member might want, as soon as he receives a response, to engage with the Ministry of Commerce, Trade and Industry to explain the specific nuances from a technical perspective. But by and large, the documentation is prepared in order to create an to the document that political party. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Honorable Member from Speaker.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Honorable Minister, the President has undertaken over 40 trips ever since he assumed the office in 2021. and all of them have reportedly to have been successful. However, there are no accruing benefits for the Zambian people, in the sense that we've still continued seeing the economy worsening. Why should the president undertaking such and not benefiting the Zambian people at huge costs? Madam Speaker, thank you.
I thank the
Honorable Minister is anxious to answer.
indeed, Madam
Before he
Speaker.
is even called upon, the Honorable Minister of Foreign Affairs International.
Indeed, Madam Speaker, and I do apologize for standing before being called upon. The honorable member for Speaker, I know, cannot resist the temptation to bring propaganda, if I did that, to a serious discussion of this. Madam, the ministerial statements relating specifically to Japan, and outlined very clearly the benefits accruing to Zambia from that particular trip. Surprisingly, the honorable member did not want to speak to the trip, which I suppose is an admission that he accepts that that trip in particular was successful. I would like to respond on the over 40 trips, where it is alleged, Madam Speaker, by the honorable member that there are no benefits accruing to the Republic of Zambia. Madam Speaker, this again underscores the need for us to be responsible as members of Parliament when we make these statements, because the nation is watching. There's no need to politic without a factual basis on matters of such significance. Madam Speaker, each and every one of the trips undertaken by His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Zambia, has shown benefit to this country. You can talk about, for example, an outstanding trip which was undertaken in 2023, where the relationship between Zambia and China was elevated to a strategic, comprehensive partnership. That is a benefit that is there for everybody to see, Madam Speaker. It is clear that where you have good relations, strong relations with a country of such significance as China, which is a world leader, it means they are on the right path. I don't understand how any Zambian could say that there are no benefits accruing to the people of Zambia. But let's talk about the physical. As an example amongst the numerous other examples from the presidential trips. You have, I'll repeat, I've said it before on the floor of the House and elsewhere, direct benefits of those trips that can be seen, for example, from the revamping of Shaft 28 or dewatering of Shaft 28 in Russia. Madam Speaker, what more do we have to show to demonstrate that there is a strong relationship between these two countries which is yielding benefit for the people of Zambia? 40 plus years, or is it 20 plus years, the Honorable Minister of the Copper Belt to be able to give more detail. Some of these mines have not had activity. We are seeing life being brought back to places that were dead, Madam Speaker, to investments that had stopped to yield for the people of Zambia. And yet, the Honorable Member can come to the floor of this House and suggest that there is no benefit accruing to the people of Zambia. We must debate on a factual perspective. And, Madam Speaker, it's just that I'm limited in what I can say due to time, but I would ask the Honorable Member if he really wants to benefit the people of Zambia to engage with my office so that I can tutor him, show him line by line the work that has been done and the benefits that have accrued. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much. So, Honorable Member from Pika, you've been invited for coffee to go and discuss. And no, I'm not calling on member. I'm just informing you of the invitation that you can go and have a chat with the Honorable Minister of Foreign Affairs. The Honorable Member for Ron.
Madam Speaker, thank you very much for the opportunity, and Honorable Minister, thank you very much for that statement. Minister, it's gratifying to note that in the presidential delegation we had the Minister of Infrastructure and Urban Development, Engineer Honorable Charles Milopi, and we also had the Commerce, Trade and Industry Minister Chipoka Mlenga. Honorable Minister, Zambia is embarking on the reindustrialization the manufacturers of the motor mobiles called Toyota had an opportunity to visit this institution. And it's also a fact, Minister, that Japan has one of the contractors construction. Is there a possibility that we could see Japanese companies coming to Zambia and fill up the gaps in the road infrastructure development by giving competition to the existing contractors that we have from various places? And also, if Japan can come and set up an assembling plant for Toyota mobiles in Zambia, other than what we have been experiencing, Madam Speaker, as a selling point for Toyota vehicles in Zambia, is there any chance of that happening, Honorable Minister? I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much. The Honorable Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and I thank the honourable member for Ron for that very progressive attitude. And indeed, this is the basis upon which we are engaging as members of Parliament in this House to explain what the executive is doing, so that you can go back as we adjourn Senate here today to give the good news that indeed those discussions were had. How does Japan bring its expertise to Zambia in terms of skills and technology transfer, in terms of direct work being done here for the benefit of the people of Zambia? And those discussions yielded quite a significant amount of results. And also importantly, it was made clear, and the potential partners with whom we shall cooperate on the private sector and from government to government perspective are aware that local content is very important. The fact that we must have Zambian participation in any of these activities that we undertake, and in that regard, directly to our people. So yes, Honourable Member for Ron, those discussions we had. Let me give a very clear and specific example. There was discussion had on the construction of a new bridge across the Luangwa River, and of course the construction of the road from Lusaka to Luangwa. It is part of the plan undertaken by our counterparts from Japan. So, Madam Speaker, these reiterate programs, trips that we undertake yield significant fruit for the people of Zambia. I thank you.
Thank you. The Honourable Member for Matero.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Sorry, Honourable Member for Matero, there is an indication for a point of order from the Honourable Member for Sikongo. What's the point of order, Honourable Member for Sikongo?
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for this opportunity to raise the point of order. Madam Speaker, the point of order I intend to raise is in relation to Standing Order 222, duration of suspension of member named. Madam Speaker, Honourable Kapianga and Honourable Simomba were suspended on the 18th of this month for a period of 7 days. And according to Standing Order 222, and I quote, it reads, in 1, if a member is named under Standing Order 221, the suspension period shall be as follows. 1, on the first occasion, for 7 sitting days, excluding the day of suspension, which of course is what applied to the two honourable members. Now, the period for suspension for these honourable members should have ended today if you are counting the days according to Standing Order 222. So are they in order, Madam Speaker, to be in this House from Wednesday? I thank you.
Thank you very much, Honourable Member for Sikongo, for raising that. The suspension is supposed to be for 7 sitting days. 7 sitting days, excluding the day of suspension. So when we calculate, I don't know, the clerks at the table, what was the calculation? Because so the day it was supposed to end today. So I saw the honourable members were in the House yesterday before the suspension expired. So that means yesterday's sitting they would be deemed not to have been here. They were trespassing, and even today So, and Wednesday they were here, so they were not supposed to be in the house actually until when we resume in June. So, honorable member for Mpika and the honorable member for Nakonde, your days have not, for suspension, you have not exhausted them. They're supposed to be ending today. So on Wednesday, Thursday, and today, you are not supposed to be in the house. So you not. So honorable member from Pika, you will be excused until you come back in June, because your days are the expansion only ends today. So for the avoidance of doubt, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, when the honorable members came to the house during their suspension period, before the same was exhausted, would be deemed not to have been a sitting. But because there was a lapse also on the part of the clerks at the table, it's okay. They will not be punished any further than having them deemed not to have been part and parcel of the sittings for the 3 days. Please, let's make sure that we follow these processes properly, than putting the presiding officers in an awkward position. Let's make progress. The honorable member for Matero may continue.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, as a rider, I want to make a confession why sometimes I come late to the House. Madam Speaker, it's because I have 2 babies below 2 years. So each time I'm coming to Parliament, they cry for me, and I have to attend to them. Therefore, Madam Speaker, I cannot help but commend you, Madam Speaker, on your initiative yesterday to start a creche or a nursery here. I was most delighted, Madam Speaker. You will go in history as one who brought that initiative, so that I can come with my babies and help the mother to sort of do other things, and I become the father of the babies and bring them to Parliament. Then I can contribute effectively. So I commend you, Madam Speaker. I don't know the standing orders if they allow. Otherwise, I was going to public make a big donation, but I want to do it administratively. I want to do it administratively.
Okay, let me comment on that before I forget, especially that the honorable member is committing a donation. You may take your seat or make a comment. Thank you very much, honorable member for Matero, for that, for those comments. Of course, the creche is meant for both female and male members of Parliament, stakeholders, members of staff. I'm happy to learn that you have 4 children that you will need the services of the creche. I was telling the honorable members and members of staff to say that we need to fill up that creche. So I'm glad that you are in the right, you are doing the right thing. So we need more children to improve, even to increase our population. So I'm appealing to the honorable members, please go here and multiply. And for the donation, honorable member, I don't know if you were here, but honorable member for Lunte has donated 20, has pledged 20,000 kwacha worth of building blocks. So you are welcome also to make that donation. The plan is to have the creche running and operating by March 8th March 2026. So we have a target to beat. So I'm grateful, honorable member for Matero, for that pledge. We receive it with open hands. Now you may ask your question.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I will put it in writing administratively in the interest of time. To my time on the question. Madam Speaker, I commend the Minister for his presentation of the presidential trip to Japan, Tokyo. Madam Speaker, he also says, I was happy to hear him say here, the President and the leader of government there, the importance of these international trips. and more so coming from the background where our Republican president, HH, used to call his predecessors Kamwendo Munjira. But they travel a lot. But so now that they realize that it must be done, and also that they are pro-cost cutting, is it possible, Minister, that given what the country is going through, the budget constraints, that the future trips can be virtual? It's a world of virtual meetings. Is that a possibility? Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I thank the Honorable Member from Material for his perspectives. However, I don't seem to be able between Kamwendo Munjira moving nicely and President Hichilema's trips, which are Kamwendo Munjira, the past ones that the Honorable Member has spoken about, did not have any tangible benefits coming to the country. In fact, what was seen mostly was dancing, playing, and using that as leisure trips. Yes. So one cannot compare and oranges. You cannot compare us with the light of the present, where trips are in a business-like sense. In fact, when we leave, you arrive, do the business, immediately the first flight you find available, you return to the country. If the Honorable Member has noted the statements that the ministry issues whenever the president is traveling, we insist on saying immediately after his engagement, the president will return. We go for work and not to play. So let's not compare the past and the present. There's a very, very big difference. In terms of virtual meetings, of course, I'm sure member from the importance of networking and the importance of face-to-face meetings. One of the most important aspects trips create upon which you can do business, not for playing, Madam Speaker. And so where we have the opportunity for virtual meetings, we've been having them. I'm sure the Honorable Minister will also note that, for instance, we had a SADC EU joint summit not too long ago to conduct very important business, and that was held virtually. But virtual is not always possible. Isn't it the same reason why us as Honorable Members of Parliament have said we want to sit in the chamber when we had a hybrid format, because it is important to have the feel of a personal interaction and forge those strong relations. I would give many examples of, for example, the where to eye, showing that they're speaking genuinely from the heart in the interests of their people. There is nothing more significant than that. So I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, the Honorable Chairman North.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for this opportunity. Thank you, Minister, for that ministerial statement. Honorable Minister, this country has been struggling with the persistent power shortages because we have depended mostly on hydropower. Now, I know that Japan is one of the countries which has invested heavily in the nuclear technology. So I want to find out what international trip which you undertook, there were such discussions, because I know that by 2040, nuclear energy will account for 20% of Japanese energy supplies. So is there any possibility that there will be transfer of nuclear technology to Zambia, the hydropower, which has really disappointed us, especially because of thank you.
Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I think the general response to the Honourable Member for Chairman North's question, and I thank you, Honourable, for that question, is that the discussion was around diversifying the energy mix, not specifically with regard to nuclear alone or to solar alone or wind or whatever other forms of renewable energy are available. I can certainly say that in respect of, as I earlier mentioned, and I'll re-emphasize this, in respect of Toyota Tusho in particular, as a private sector entity, they looked at the perspective of bringing solar beginning with 100 megawatts, ramping up actually to 300 in a specific period. And I've been informed reliably by the Honourable Minister of Commerce that they already came into the country within 2 weeks of our visit and have started undertaking the feasibility studies. So I think the primary concern that you have raised is what is being done with Japan in terms of the energy sector and improving that. So these are the tangible outcomes that we can speak of. And let me also take the opportunity, having been whispered to by the Honourable Minister of Commerce, to speak to another private sector during the visit to undertake feasibility on partnering in the health sector and manufacturing of critical drugs, which is SECO. So, Madam Speaker, these are the outcomes, some of the outcomes. I thank you.
Thank you. The Honourable Member from Pongwe.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Honourable Minister, I would like to find out what was the size of the Japan delegation of the Japan trip, so that the Zambia can compare and contrast. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honourable Minister of Foreign Cooperation.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. If I understood the question correctly, I think the Honourable Member from Pongo, and I thank him, is asking the numbers in terms of the. Madam Speaker, we had access to the highest level of leadership in Japan. And I must mention that great honor for President Hichilema to have audience with the which is something for granted. The delegations, our counterparts matched our delegations in the sense that the Honourable Ministers responsible for the sectors that we travelled with were also there. In addition, of course, there was significant interest all the time because these matters are of great interest to our counterparts in Japan. The private sector in particular was very supportive, and we were given full access to all necessary resources that we could engage with in terms of the human side and technical expertise. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
I don't know if the question has been answered. The Honourable Member of Parliament from Pongo was rather looking at the size of the delegation that went to Japan. I'm
sorry, Madam Speaker, I thought you were speaking about the Japanese delegation. Ours was a very lean delegation, as I indicated earlier. It was myself and my team. The Honourable Ministers travelled with their teams. No musicians, Madam Speaker, no extraneous people in terms of persons that had nothing to do with the business that we ourselves, as Honourable Ministers, we limit as much as possible the people we travel with to the necessary technical staff, permanent secretary, and perhaps an officer. And of course, the presidential delegation would be in terms of what is required for security and so on and so forth. So I can confirm that the delegation was, and as is usually the case, I thank you.
Thank you. The Honourable Member for Chipiri.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. First, to salute you from Honourable House, especially people from Western Province, but I've never seen thing like this, so I'm coming there to showcase. Honourable Minister, I want to find out the President has taken a number of trips which are very successful. Have chosen to come here and state the trip for. I want to find out why have you chosen Japan trip, not other countries, because they might feel that trips that were to those countries were not fruitful. Can you clarify why you are settled on this? Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The Honorable Member for Chipili question. I also wish to commend him on the dazzling attire that he has worn today. Being a Friday, Madam Speaker, and as we are just in it here, I'm sure we shall meet in other areas where we will dazzle the general public in our exuberance. Madam Speaker, indeed, all of the trips are equally important. To answer the question by the Honourable Member directly, we receive requests for further information on trips through the Office of the Vice President when members of the public show an interest to find out more information. This is what informed this ministerial statement, and the next one that I'll be giving on the African Union. But suffice to say, we also as the ministry recognize that there is need for us to give this information. So we'll be coming with further ministerial statements, some of which will be combined in relation to some of the trips to give highlights, whether past or the future trips that will be held. But I can confirm each of the trips is of significant importance. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. The Honorable Member for Koyo is trying to emulate the matches. The Honorable Member for Chipili is dressed like a Mbunda man. But now my relative from Sioma doesn't seem to be there. But since we are cousins with the honorable people of the Northern Province, Honorable Member for Chipili, you are my cousin, you are a Mbunda man. Please teach my area from Sioma to also emulate you. Thank you very much. That was on a lighter note. The Honorable Member for Bwanamkubwa.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and thank you, Minister of Information, for giving us an update on that presidential trip to Japan. Being at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and you've been doing these several trips and these bilateral agreements which you've mentioned, I just wanted to find out perhaps what mechanisms you've put as a ministry to track some of these important bilateral agreements so that we are in tandem with our foreign policy and also vis-a-vis implementation of the aforesaid bilateral agreements. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and I thank the Honourable Member for Bwanamkubwa for that very important and practical question. Indeed, I must say that His Excellency the President insists with engagement that an action matrix be put in place with specific outcomes. So as we speak now, we have, for example, the working visits that were undertaken between Zambia and Botswana in both directions, where all authorities and officers that are required to participate. And that is being looked at back and sit a commission between the two countries to check what is the implementation status. So in short, we have agreed actions, and those actions are checked periodically. Right now, we are dealing with the question together with the Ministry of Commerce. For example, when we talk about the Botswana engagements of, are we giving effect as Ugula Bridge Authority documentation and the agreements around that. So yes, there is a very strict regime of follow-up with each and every trip. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much. The Honorable Member for Katombo.
I thank you, Madam Speaker, for the opportunity. allow the people of Katomboya constituency to ask a question to the Honorable Minister. Honorable Minister, it's been alleged by the opposition that the President could have just been using Zoom and all these things. Do you think it would have been possible to achieve the debt restructuring, to restructure the debt of over $3 billion that was left by PF if the President was not traveling? $14 billion that was left by PF on Zoom. Thank you very much, Honorable Minister.
The Honorable Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation.
Madam Speaker, thank you very much to the Honorable Member for Katomboya. Debt restructuring. Madam Speaker, the debt restructuring exercise taken was very without question. It would not have been possible to undertake it without the physical engagements that took place with the various stakeholders. Madam Speaker, the debt burden that this country was left with, the indication by the Honorable Member is that it's in excess of $14 billion, was, as described by His Excellency the President, a python around the neck of this country. That python had to be unloosed and unleashed, to be loosened so that this country could get a semblance of returning to economic stability. And that those visits that took place to France, to China, key players in the debt restructuring process were very necessary so that personal relationships could be forged and we could stand by the support of those countries. The leaders of some of these countries, in particular President Xi Jinping of China, President Macron of France, took it personally upon themselves to support as co-chairs the process of debt restructuring for Zambia because an effort was made to go to them and ask for their help. I doubt very much if a personal touch, a non-personal touch such as Zoom could have achieved that. Indeed, I can attest to the fact that having seen His Excellency the President in the manner in which he engages counterparts in foreign countries, he certainly is our chief marketer and is able to convince the right people. Madam Speaker, for example, one of the partnership, big partner in the business forums where the President spoke to the potential investors. It was an immodest submission made to the investors, and from there we came back with no less than 36 inquiries. I think that was, if the Honorable Minister for Commerce was here, he would have confirmed that this actually took place in one of the countries most recently visited. I think that was in China on the sidelines of the FOCAC. So we cannot underscore the importance of these face-to-face interactions. And again, as the Honorable Member has intimated, that $14 billion noose around our necks was only loosened on account of these engagements for and in the interest of the people of Zambia. I thank you, Madam
Speaker. The Honorable Member for Kankoyo is anxious to match the dressing of the Honorable Member for GP. The Honorable Member for Kankoyo will be the last.
No, thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, Kankoyo is just next to the chief side in Congo, so I'm slowly becoming like my assistant in Congo. That's on the right side, Madam Speaker. I remain a Zambian. Okay. Madam Speaker, one of the benefits which we, the people on the Copper Belt, are seeing from the trips the President has managed to undertake, the which is coming a few days ago, I'm sure all of us were disturbed by the complaints and the noise which was coming from suppliers on the Copper Belt. As I'm speaking today, I want to confirm that the suppliers have been paid in full. It's $7 million, which was meant to clear everyone up to the last date of February 29th. They've all been paid because of having an investor, the President, to be able to listen to the price of the people.
Question, point of clarification on the ministerial statement that was rendered by the Honorable Foreign Affairs and International. does not qualify, Honorable Member. You are bringing in extraneous issues. Ask your point of clarification on the statement, Honorable Member.
Yes, Speaker. I was trying to find out from the Honorable Minister of Foreign Affairs if the President was having meetings on Zoom, would we have an investor today who is able to pump in $830 million in 12 months into Mopani? I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, the Honorable Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I believe not, Madam Speaker. Again, we cannot underscore the importance of these face-to-face meetings, and they have resulted in many outcomes, as the Honourable Member has already alluded to. The primary focus is on smart agriculture and irrigation for small-scale farmers. And I can tell you, Madam Speaker, for example, that there is interest that has been shown from manufacturers in Zimbabwe to supply center pivot systems that can work on a small-scale level. This is the sort of benefit we get from the face-to-face interactions. And there are so many that in this short space of time, we cannot outline each and every one of them. But the Honourable Member for Kankoyo has got its limitations. Yes, it's used as well in collaboration with going far and wide to meet people that can potentially invest in this country for the benefit of our people. Thank you very much.
We make progress. I've also permitted the Honorable Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security, Ministerial Statement. The Honorable Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security.
Madam Speaker, let me thank you for giving me the opportunity to make a ministerial statement on the issuance of national registration through mobile registration. The Department of National Registration, Passports and Citizenship is mandated to issue national identity documents, namely national registration cards, national travel documents, and citizenship and civil registration documents such as birth certificates, adoption, birth certificates, and marriage certificates. The mandate is derived from the National Registration Act, Cap 126, Passport Act number 28 of 2016, Citizenship Act number 33 of 2016, Birth and Death Registration Act 51, Marriage Act Cap 50, and the Children's Code Act number 12 of 2022 of the laws of Zambia. The Ministry, through the National Registration Office, periodically undertakes more issuance of national registration cards in all the 10 provinces of Zambia to capture eligible Zambians. Madam Speaker, the exercise will to empower them to economic activities and strengthen electoral processes provided for in the aid plan. Our target is to capture all eligible Zambian citizens who have turned 16 years or above. Last mobile exercise was undertaken. Additionally, the exercise will also facilitate the issuance of NRCs to persons who have lost or damaged cards. The focus of implementation will be rural areas, particularly in far-flung areas where there is no access to national registration offices. This is where most of the people who cannot access national registration offices for routine registration are concentrated. Madam Speaker, our approach will be grounded in the principles of transparency, accountability, and fairness. Let me assure free of corruption. We are setting a high standard to regain the trust of the citizens we serve. I want to categorically state that this exercise will be conducted with the utmost integrity and transparency. Madam Speaker, I want to state that any officer practices will face stringent disciplinary measures, including prosecution. This government is committed to maintaining public trust and ensuring that the exercise is carried out in a manner that upholds our values of honesty and fairness. This is a tangible of the United Party for National Development government belief in democracy as the bedrock of our nation. Madam Speaker, we are steadfast in our commitment to transparency and accountability in all our endeavors. By enabling Zambians to get NRCs and vote in the 2026 elections, we are empowering our citizens to exercise their constitutional rights and shape the future of our beloved country. The mobile issuance of NRCs is scheduled to commence within the first 2 weeks of the month of April 2025 and will run for 3 months. The exercise will be preceded by orientation for all officers to ensure they meet the projected target of registering 3.5 million Zambians. The size medium. Unlike in the previous exercise, the ministry is sending teams to all the 10 provinces at the same time. This is an ambition, but it is essential for strengthening our democracy and safeguarding the rights of our people. Madam Speaker, as I conclude, I want to urge all honorable members of Parliament to actively engage with their constituencies and inform the people about this important exercise. Let us ensure that every eligible individual understands the importance of obtaining an NRC, not just as a document, but as a gateway to participation in governance, to democracy, integrity, and national unity. Let us join hands to ensure its success and contribute to the future prosperity of our great nation.
Are now free to ask questions on points of clarification on the ministerial statement presented by the Honorable Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security. The Honorable Member for Shiwangando.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And it's commendable that the Honorable Minister has given us this update. Honorable Minister, this exercise you have mentioned, I'm meant to believe, will still depend on the manual civil registration systems that are currently in place. Your ministry has embarked on a major project of integrated registration and information systems to manage the civil registration systems to digital with electronically generated identity cards. How are we harmonizing this? Because this comes with a huge cost registration systems, NRCs, when we are supposed to be talking identity cards. Where are we?
So, Home Affairs and Internal Security.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And I want to thank the Honourable Member of Parliament for that question. Madam Speaker, I would like to mention and assure the nation that we are not migrating to the digital ID cards until after the elections. We do not want anyone to complain when they lose elections. We shall continue using the legacy system of using manual issuance of NRCs until after the elections.
What's Honourable Member for Mukushi South? What's the point of order?
Madam Speaker, the Honourable Minister who is seated there, he says that we do not want people to complain elections. Why is he attaching NRC, issuance of NRCs to elections? Because NRC, Madam Speaker, is an essential document for every Zambian. Not because there are elections that are going to take place, therefore you should issue NRCs. An NRC is a document that is meant, is in order to attach the issuance of NRCs to elections. I think you're seriously, Madam Speaker.
Oh, the Honourable Member for Mukushi South, the Honourable Minister was explaining why there was no migration at this point. So he was explaining that we can't migrate at this point because there's an oncoming election, so that in future people don't complain that because of the integration, some people were not able to vote. I think that's what I heard him explain. So he was just explaining, of course, the national registration card remains for the challenges that surround the national registration cards, especially that there are so many duplicates that are going around. So the problem is guided, you are being answered, and then you are laughing. So I don't know whether you are laughing at me or you are laughing at yourself. Can we make progress? The Honourable Member from Ghana.
Honourable Minister of Home Affairs, today you have announced that you are going to commence the mobile registration of votes. That is going to be done for 3 months. Honourable Minister, you are very aware that this exercise started somewhere around 2022 in most parts of the South. Why would you then want to be unfair to other places to give them 3 months when this exercise has been ongoing today?
Minister of Home and
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, as I respond to the Honourable Member of Parliament for Ghana, I would like to inform the nation, based on the information I have, and having witnessed 20 that prior to the 2020 registration issuance in Western Province, Northwestern Province, for 2 weeks, after the government then
decided to abandon that particular exercise. As a result of that direction, the people of Northwestern Province, almost 50%, were disenfranchised. What we have done is everyone in the country, this process, has access to national registration cards without discrimination. And I can remember from Ghana that this exercise has not only been taking place in South Africa, because you just mentioned South. I don't know which part is referring, whether it's South Africa or it's in Swaziland. It has been taking place in almost all parts of the country where members of the public were not given registration cards during that time. We have done that. For the time being, we have made a decision that we are not going to discriminate anyone like it used to happen. Once we commence, I'll be launching the National Mobile Registration Card issuance in Ghana on the 10th of April. And I'm inviting you, Honorable, to be part of the exercise. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much. The Honorable Member for Mwense. Okay, before the Honorable Member for Mwense, Honorable Member for Shwangan, what's the point of order?
Madam Speaker, I'm raising a point of order pursuant to Standing Order 71. That the information we table in this August House must be factual and verifiable. I stand here and I'm proud that I serve the nation in the office where my colleague is now. You can question, but that's history that you cannot erase. Madam Speaker, this country has been a united country for many years. And the public offices we save are public offices that every other person will save. And it's important to understand that tours of duty begin and end for any one of us who have had the privilege to be in these public offices. Madam Speaker, do shut up. That's why you can't be an environment.
Order.
No, but, Madam Speaker, the gentleman who is acting a long-standing member who are expected to be the front bench and is at the back bench.
Please.
Madam Speaker.
Okay, Honorable, order, Honorable Shwangan. Honorable members, let's not debate while seated, because we are distracting the Honorable Member for Shwangan to raise his point of order, so that I understand it and make an appropriate ruling. Now, if you heckle him and now he starts saying words, using words which are not parliamentary in nature against the Honorable members, again, that is not correct. Honorable members, two wrongs don't make a right. Let's behave ourselves in a dignified manner. The members of the public are following all these, and the comments that you make, all the parliamentary words that you utter, honorable members of the public are listening to them. So it's just reducing the dignity of this house, dignity and decorum of the house. Let's maintain that, and we are not in competition. Whether you are holding office or now you are currently holding office, we are not in competition. We complement each other. We hope to everybody else. That's the nature of things. Just like we are born, we will die, somebody else will be born and somebody else will die. It's the nature of natural justice. The law of nature, that is how it is. So please, let's not be emotive on matters of this nature. Let's be responsible citizens and ask questions that we are going to add value to what we are doing. So may the Honorable Member for Shwangandu ask his question as he adds value to the process that we are undertaking right now. The point of order.
Well, Council, Madam Speaker, and I'm very grateful And if you read my question I posed to the Honorable Minister now, was just a progressive question, because I know that the system I referred to is a system that we embarked on for the nation, so that we can have IDs that are recognized in the globe from the system that I referred to being INRIS. It was a progressive question.
So it was a
My point of order to the Honorable Minister is like you have guided, and I only got concerned when he said there was segregation before in the manner national IDs were being issued. Because, Madam Speaker, national registration offices have existed since independence in most of these areas that the Honorable Minister was referring to. And at no point, as the ministry is serving now, decided to segregate against any region. So I hope the honorable colleague should focus on the program is announcing and how it's going to be done. Was it in order to start comparing and contrasting, which have guided, and I appreciate that we must respect each other and appreciate each other for whatever we have done. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member for Shwangandu. I believe from what I was following, the Honorable Minister was explaining or giving justification why certain areas were being given attention in terms of the issuance of national registration cards. And according to him, what he found in the office was that some areas like Western Province and Northwestern Province were not given national registration cards for whatever reason. So he was just explaining. So in the process of explaining, maybe you could have used that there was discrimination. I don't know. According to the Honorable Member for Shiwang, and when he was in the office, according to him, he did not discriminate against anyone. That's what he is saying. So the Honorable Minister of Home Affairs was just in order trying to explain the apparent disparity between why national registration cards were not issued in certain areas. I think there was no problem there. The Honorable Minister was in order. So we were at the Honorable Member for Mwense.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for the opportunity. Minister, for some of us, our constituencies are in the border areas. And obviously, you have citizens of Zambia who are living maybe in the other country. For example, my constituency is separated by a river between Congo and Zambia. So what measures is your minister going to put in place to probably allow some of our citizens who may be living in those countries to come and genuinely acquire these identification cards? I thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, with your permission, I just want to explain and also assure the nation pertaining to the statement I made, that it was made in good faith. And I have a lot of respect for my colleague, Honorable Kamshon. Madam Speaker, who were in the opposition then? I think there are a number of, yes, who were in the House when the national taking place. Of Home Affairs then had given an extension for 1 week to ensure that the number of people who were not able to access national registration card had an opportunity to do so. Immediately, Britain fell. The officers were directed to move away from those centers. And that matter was raised on the floor of this House. It's a fact, Madam Speaker. So I stand without fear of any contradiction on this matter. Coming to the question that has been raised by my honorable colleague, that issue, Madam Speaker, is very important. We are aware that a number of foreigners accessed national registration cards during the previous mobile registration. issuance. This time around, that's why we are appealing to you, honorable colleagues, members of parliament, working together with traditional leaders to identify genuine individuals who should access national registration cards. We should be identifying Zambians who should be accessing national registration cards. As it is, it's a fact we have a number of foreigners who have national registration cards. And we also have evidence that foreigners voted in the last elections. We have that evidence. We have copies of national registration cards where individuals were given national registration cards. And it's not only foreigners. We are aware that in the last mobile underage national registration cards, and we have evidence of that. Even 10-year kids were given national registration card and they voted. So to ensure that we guard jealously our national identity card, they should not be given to those who are not eligible. Madam Speaker, thank you.
Thank you very much. I don't know. For me, I'm just making an observation that for those people that are in the border areas, I don't know, are they dual citizens? I'm just throwing a question to the Honorable Minister that do these people have dual citizenships now that we are allowing dual citizenship in Zambia? Are they dual citizens and they are not? Okay. Okay, I was just wondering because of the border in cases, whether they don't even vote in whatever the other country, so they would be voting in two countries. I was just thinking aloud. The Honorable Member for Kamkoyo.
I thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, during this period, like the Minister stated, there is always a temptation for politicians to induce innocent children to get NRC before their age. But as they grow up, when they want to do things to do with age limits, they'll be 35 years before they're 35, but before 45 years before they're 45, they find that they start falling off from the privileges which come with a certain age limit. I want to ask the Minister of Home Affairs, what message do you have to underage, not to fall for the temptations of politicians to give them NRCs before their age is due? As it may have consequences in future when all of us were long gone. I thank you.
Thank you. The Honorable Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, it's not just consequences in future or future consequences. Even current consequences are there. If you are not eligible to acquire a national registration card, you are making an offense, committing an offense, and it's criminal. Consequences follow.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Dundumwezi.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Honorable Minister, you have indicated that the exercise that will take 3 months will gobble about 440 million, if I got you correctly. Now, as a person who has worked in immigration, do understand the importance of an NRC. When you look at the NRC, Honorable Minister, it's indicating that if you pick an NRC, you're supposed to surrender it to the nearest police station. Are you aware, sir, that in our police stations in this country, we have thousands and thousands of unclaimed NRCs? Before you embark on this very costly exercise, are you contemplating, sir, visiting your police stations and collect all the NRCs and redistribute them to the chiefdoms, since every NRC has details of a village and a chiefdom where they belong to? Are you contemplating doing that, sir? because it's a very expensive exercise. I thank you.
Thank you. The Honorable Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security.
Madam Speaker, I'm not going to visit the police station because I'm part of it. I'm aware of uncollected cards that were either lost, and in certain instances they were stolen from individuals and were recovered. We have quite a number, and we have been appealing to members of the public who have lost the registration cards to get in touch with the police. It will be an expensive exercise, Madam Speaker, to undertake this exercise of looking for the owners of these registration cards. What we are going to do, if we identify those cards properly and we know where they are supposed to have been issued and where the person purportedly resides, will be carrying these cards so that individuals can claim them if possible.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Shangom.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, Shangombo was created in 1997. So the only district it used to be called Sananga West. So it was about some places were about 200 kilometers away from Shangombo. It was difficult for some people to walk to Shangombo to acquire NRCs. What hope, or is there any hope that the government can extend to those people who are more than 50, 60 years who could not acquire NRCs then because they were told to be overage? But maybe working with chief areas, they can also be given NRCs so they can benefit from social cash transfer, PCP, and other good programs that the government is offering the citizens. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Honorable Member of Parliament for Shangombo, that is a very important matter you have raised, and I'm aware that in a number of jurisdictions there are such individuals. We are going to take into account the circumstances they find themselves in, especially in areas like Shangombo, as a result of the war that was going on in those areas, the liberation wars. A number of people were not able to access national registration cards. We'll take that into account as we issue national registration cards.
Order. As the time is 10:40 hours, I suspend business for 20 minutes for a health break.
Parliament television business has been suspended for 20 minutes. At the time business was suspended, the House was considering a ministerial statement which was rendered on the floor of the House by the Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security, Honorable Jacob Mwimbu MP, on the issuance of national registration cards through mobile registration. And the Honorable Minister has just concluded responding to the follow-up question that was posed by Shangombo Member of Parliament, Mr. Mubika. So when business resumes at 11 hours, the House will continue considering the ministerial statement.
Yes, indeed. We now look at some of the announcements which were announced in the House when business resumed this morning. Madam Speaker, I recognize the presence in the public gallery of pupils and teachers from Triple Alliance Digital Academy, pre and primary schools in Lusaka District, and pupils and teachers from Thornhill Boarding School in Lusaka District.
On behalf of the National Assembly of Zambia, Madam Speaker, did warmly welcome the visitors to the National Assembly. And there was another announcement that was rendered on the floor of the House by the Right Honorable Madam Speaker. This was to inform the House that Parliament Radio will be migrating from the Astraf 4A satellite under Vision Consult, the GmbH, to the Cosmos satellite. The migration process will begin on Tuesday, 1st April 2025.
And Madam Speaker stated that during the migration process, the Parliament Radio remote sites across the country will be off air. She said that however, the Lusaka frequency 92.5 FM will still be on air. In addition, Chirundu, Mazabuga, Monze, Chasu, Yoma, and Kawe will also be able to access Parliament Radio on 92.5 FM.
The Radio remote sites across the country is expected to be restored by Friday, 30th May 2025. The inconvenience the process will cause to the Parliament Radio listeners, especially in our remote sites, is deeply regretted. So that's the announcement that Madam Speaker made. Two announcements regarding the two schools that visit Parliament, and one other announcement regarding the moving or migrating of Parliament Radio to a new satellite.
Yes, indeed, of course, and that's area on Madam Speaker did render a ruling on a point of order raised on Tuesday, 18th March 2025 by Honorable Gigi Combo, MP, Minister of Local Government and Rural Development, against Mr. F.R. Kampianga, Member of Parliament for Mpika constituency, and Mr. L.C. Mumba, Member of Parliament for the constituency, for voting in a matter that concerns them, and to be able to give them to give our viewers the details regarding this ruling which was made by Madam Speaker.
Just before the break, the House was considering ministerial statements rendered on the floor of the House by the Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security. We expect another ministerial statement that will be expected to be rendered on the floor of the House by the same Minister, Honorable Jack Mwimbu, Minister of Foreign Affairs, and that's the Minister of, we expect actually, coming from the Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, I beg your pardon, and this one is on the 38th Ordinary Session of the Assembly of Heads of State and Government at the Africa Union held in Ethiopia, Addis Ababa, from 15th to 16th February 2021. There are two more questions that are expected to be considered, Joe.
Yes, indeed. So there are two more questions, 8 questions, understanding order 82.
For now, we'll take a break. On the other side, we'll let you in on those two questions and three bills that are expected, two at the same stage. This is committee stage, and we have one that is expected to come at the reading stage. This is Parliament Television.
My name is Engineer Jonathan Daka. I'm 46 years old, of course married with the 4 beautiful children, 4 boys. I went to Chipata for my entire primary school, even secondary school. Thereafter I went to the University of Zambia in 1995, where I graduated with a Bachelor's of Engineering in Civil Engineering in 2002, after staying there for an extended time of 7 years. That's my basic qualification. I'm an engineer by profession. My constituency is located on the southeast part of Zambia, bordering with Mozambique. This constituency is a rural constituency with the 20 wards. And this constituency being a border constituency, this is a constituency which actually houses the Chanida border, which is the shortest border to the sea coast for the country. Therefore, the much of and is proud of its imports of fuel, because about 70% of the fuel that we use as a country actually passes through this very important border. And this constituency, as I've already said, is a rural constituency whose major economic activities is farming, just like most rural constituencies. But for Chadiza, is a food basket for Eastern Province. It's proud of a lot of crops that our farmers grow in Chadiza, ranging from maize, groundnuts, and even cash crops like cotton and tobacco. Just like any other rural constituency, Chadiza faces a lot of challenges. This constituency is one of the most backward constituencies, as it lacks most of the basic infrastructure. Chadiza basically is one of the poorest constituencies. So all the basic structure, the basic infrastructure is lacking in Chadiza, and even poverty levels are very high. My developmental agenda, as I've already said, is to transform this constituency. I've told you it's lacking in most of the basic infrastructure, but first of all, therefore, should be to open up this constituency on the issues to do with the internal roads, these small roads first of all, and then also open it up to the other parts of the country. I mean, to the rest of the country through a bituminous standard road, because Chadiza is one of the few